Welcome to the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat. For those seeking business license assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center here at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business license can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn more about the program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. This webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. We encourage all attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Please note the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. At this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Toya from SCORE Chicago for us to begin.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Toya Hemingway, and I am the chapter chair here at SCORE Chicago. SCORE is a national nonprofit association dedicated to helping small businesses get off the ground, to grow, and to achieve their goals through education and mentorship. We have been serving the needs of business owners across the country since 1964. Here at SCORE Chicago, our mentors are experienced entrepreneurs, corporate managers, and executives with a diverse set of industries and specialties who volunteer their experience and knowledge to help small businesses start, develop, and grow businesses. We offer free and confidential mentoring on an ongoing basis, as well as low cost and no cost business training, free online workshops, in addition to numerous templates and tools on our website. If you're interested in being mentored, please go to score.org and submit a mentoring request. Now it is my pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Deanna Marvel. Sorry, Deanna. Deanna is an experienced marketer who is with over 20 years of experience leading teams and directing campaigns in various industries, target channels. She has worked with numerous Fortune 500 companies, as well as entrepreneurs and startups. Deanna is currently the Vice President in Marketing Strategy and Operations for Wonder Nation, an iGaming startup. She is also an adjunct instructor at Northwestern University's Integrated Marketing Communication professional graduate program, as well as a SCORE presenter and workshop leader. She is highly experienced, highly regarded, and we're very fortunate to have her doing the presentation today. Thank you, Deanna.
Thank you, Toya, so much. And thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day to join me for what I hope will be an informative and useful webinar. I am excited to share the information that I pulled together today. I will start with a disclaimer that I'm not an AI expert, but I have explored the topic, I've experimented, I've researched, I've learned a little, and I want to share that with you today. So in the end, you'll know what I know, and I hope that you've learned something that can help you to support and grow your business. So I won't go into detail on my background. Toya did a great job of introducing me, but I will say that my experience working in a variety of industries with a variety of brands and with a cross-section of marketing tools gives me the perspective that I bring today. It's through this lens that I look when I think about how we can use AI for marketing. So before we get into the details, let's go back to November 30th, 2022. On this day, Greg Brockman, who's the president and co-founder of OpenAI, tweeted, "Just launched ChatGPT, our new AI system, which is optimized for dialogue. Try it out here." And it all started. This graph from Google Trends shows Google search volume for GPT. And as we can all see, it's just been an upward trajectory and a lot of interest in the topic. And now, 5 months later, short months later, it's everywhere. The introduction of ChatGPT has fueled this explosive interest in artificial intelligence. We see it in our feeds, in the news, on social media. People are talking about it. You might be experimenting with it, and it's everywhere. And it's here to stay, and it's why we are here today. So fun fact, ChatGPT is the fastest growing consumer app in history. In only 5 days, it hit the milestone of 1 million users. This milestone took these other very large and very successful online companies much longer to hit that milestone. It truly is an outlier in speed to adoption. In March, OpenAI had over 1.6 billion website visits. Over 100 million users were reported in January, so we know it's much more now. So it is right for us all to be interested in learning more about this. So here are the topics that I'll go through for the rest of the presentation. First, we'll talk about what actually is ChatGPT and DALL-E. We'll talk about using AI for marketing for small businesses. Then we'll go into text generation tools, then image generation tools, and we'll end with where to start. So we'll start with grounding everyone on and understanding on what ChatGPT and DALL-E are. And if you've ever heard of DALL-E, you are in for quite a treat today. So we'll begin with OpenAI. OpenAI is a company. It's not a product, it's a company. Describes itself as an artificial intelligence research and development company. It consists of two entities, a nonprofit arm, OpenAI Incorporated, and a for-profit arm, OpenAI Limited Partnership. Elon Musk, you may have read, Elon Musk was one of the early investors, and Microsoft currently has a very significant investment in OpenAI. OpenAI does have products. Those are ChatGPT, which we're all familiar with, GPT, DALL-E, and Whisper. So we will talk about all these products today except for Whisper. And Whisper is a product that transcribes speech into text and translates other languages into English. And one note is that while we've heard a lot about OpenAI, it's not the only artificial intelligence company. There are other companies, there are other products that are out there. And we're going to mention a few of those today. So everyone is most familiar with ChatGPT, but we're also actually going to start with talking about GPT because that is actually the foundation of it all. It's what ChatGPT is built on top of. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So the G, generative, means that the program has the ability to generate or create content. It does this using prompts and creates outputs based on the patterns it's learned from its training. The P stands for pre-trained. This means that the program has been trained. The training is done by inputting very large amounts of data, then fine-tuning it for various tasks like language. This allows the program to be able to learn what is called natural language processing, and that's tasks like answering questions, summarizing information, etc. And the T stands for transformer. This relates to how the model is structured, and it's actually often referred to as the architecture. And GPT relies on the transformer model, which was actually developed by Google in 2017. And that transformer was specifically designed to enable computers to interpret and understand and generate text as humans. So GPT is actually a family of language models with multiple iterations or versions. So it's similar to how you have an iPhone and then you have 13 and 14, et cetera. Each new version becomes progressively better. The first version was GPT-1, and the current version, which was released just a few weeks ago, is GPT-4. GPT is what's called a large language model. And in simple terms, it's a computer program, and it understands and can generate human language. It can perform a variety of those natural language processing tasks, like generating, summarizing text, answering questions in a tone that sounds conversational, like you're talking to a person, and then translating text into other languages. It produces work that has perfect grammar and punctuation and no spelling mistakes. And it's able to do this because of the training data that was put into it, how it is trained. So training data is pretty important to understand because this is what the products are based off of. So here we have all of the different models, GP1 through GP 3.5 and 4. Then we have chat built in here. I'll explain that. And the launch dates. And then the training data that was used. And as you can see, it was progressively getting bigger. They're adding more and more data. ChatGPT was built off of GPT 3.5, which was released in March. GPT-4 is out, but OpenAI has not really given a lot of information about what data is included in that training model. And one important thing is that the training data supported stopped at September 2021. So anything after that is not going to be in these models. So for clarity, GPT and ChatGPT are not the same thing. A lot of people use them interchangeably. GPT 3.5 or 4 or earlier version, those are all language models. They're used for a variety of language tasks, and it gives AI apps the ability to generate text. ChatGPT is actually a chatbot app. It's powered by GPT 3.5, that language model, and it's designed for conversational and human language tasks, and it relies on GPT, but a specific parameters that are for natural language processing. So GPT-4, it's the newest, it's the most powerful model. Again, it was released just a few weeks ago. It accepts images and text, and that's pretty amazing, because now it allows us to do things like take a photo and then it will create a caption. It can get a graph and it can give us a summary. So it allows us to do a lot more things. The previous versions only will allow you to put text in. And regarding the text input, it can put up to 25,000 words. That's actually 8 times from GPT-1. And that's important because the more you can put in, you give the model more information to go off of to generate your output. So you can put in long stories, et cetera, and ask it to extend it because it has all of that information to go off of. It's more reliable. It has less what they call hallucinations, which means they make up things. It has a better understanding of how to write creatively. So GPT 3.5 will write you something creatively, a poem, et cetera. This one is going to be a lot better. It cites sources, which is something that doesn't happen with 3.5. It has what is called increased steerability, and that's the ability to be able to tell it what to do. You can ask it to respond as a certain person or in a certain tone, so you can steer it in different directions. And I talked about these things that it is able to do because of this ability to pull in imagery. And it's not free. You can access 3.5 and other versions for free. GPT-4 is only accessible via a pro version, which is a paid version here. So in terms of reliability, GPT-4 is what the OpenAI claims to be 60% more accurate than the prior version. So they are continuing to progress and get better with these models. And then DALL-E. So DALL-E, I just love DALL-E. DALL-E is a text to image generator. So what you can do is you can put in an input and then it will create an image off of that, off of those directions. It's not an acronym. It's named after a combination of artist Salvador Dali and Pixar's WALL-E. And it is a version that was trained off of GPT-3. So here are a few images that you can see that I've actually generated using DALL-E. And the current version that's easily accessible is DALL-E 2. DALL-E 3 is in beta, and certain individuals have been given access to it to test and help to finalize and fine-tune its training. So this first image here, this prompt was actually, I'm giving it the direction to mirror the style of another artist. Here's just some kids playing around. This one I actually used for presentation. I wanted something very specific. And so you see and really, it's really endless in terms of what you can do with that tool. So, but the models are not perfect and no stretch of the human imagination. So the first thing, and I talked about it earlier, is that it has hallucinations. And this means that the models will give you information that's not true, but it usually will present it in a very confident manner. That actually happened, I think, with the launch of Bing, when they had their new Bing. It put some information out that wasn't correct. It has limited knowledge. I talked about how the data set cuts off at 2021, so it doesn't have those current events. And then it is biased. Now, as the new versions are coming on, the teams are working on this, but the past versions, they have seen biases in terms of gender, race, religion, politics, et cetera. And up until recently, it did not access the internet, but now through plugins, you can take ChatGPT and it can access the internet. Okay, another big issue, a hot topic, is copyright. So the copyright landscape has really been changing in the last couple of months as individuals have created art or maybe some written works and tried to copyright them and submit them to the Copyright Office. However, the Copyright Office, and they put a statement out March 16th that they are going to maintain what they call the human authorship requirement. And that is copyright can protect only material that is the product of human creativity. So if you have something that you generated from AI, and you just put the prompt in, it came out, it was beautiful, it was wonderful, you can't copyright that. But the office is willing to consider copyright for content if it was used AI, but a human was able to come in and then do something on top of it and beyond that scope. And I think it has to be significant because there was a case where someone did some Photoshop on top of it and it wasn't enough. They did not grant that copyright. So this is constantly moving, quite honestly. Another issue with copyright are concerns regarding the use of copyrighted materials in any of the training sets. So there's a lot going on here, a lot to keep an eye on as you consider using AI tools. So now let's talk about how you can use AI for small business marketing. So AI tools can be used for nearly everything that we do as marketers. We can use it in web, emails, for our mobile marketing, social media, etc. The uses are actually endless. So my advice and thought here is use this information as really as thought starters on how you can best leverage it. Use it for ideas. So I really see AI's strength in helping to improve the quality of marketing, particularly for small businesses where you may not have access to big agencies or professionals or big marketing teams in your organization. But here, there are tools that can help you to get some very polished work. On the written side, it can help you to write content or rewrite it, help you to expand content if you have a topic and you just want to get more. If you have something that's too long, it can help you to condense it. You can translate it into other language. You can help improve it and make it perfect in terms of spelling and grammar, etc. From a visual perspective, it allows you to create quality imagery that is exactly what you want. And that can be illustrations or graphics or AI-generated photography, art in all different styles and all different mediums. But you don't just have to use it for that final output. You can use it to provide alternatives and options, to brainstorm, to give you ideas and inspiration. I do it a lot. I'll use an AI tool, I'll put a prompt in, and I'll use that idea for something else. And I'm just really using it to pull in something else that I had not thought about. And one thing I do want to say is that I do not believe that AI will eliminate the need for professionals or for agencies or anything like that. And I know there's a lot of talk about that. I think there's always going to be a need for individuals who are smart and strategic and understand the business. So I don't feel like that is the risk. But what I do feel is that it will help you with the quality of the work that you do on your own. So if you're trying to write social media posts, if you're trying to write emails, if you're trying to put things together, these tools are going to be able to help you do it in a much better fashion. So now we're going to go through some examples using AI tools to create marketing assets for a business. But we're not just going to do it for any business. We are going to use for these examples the business of a dog groomer. And we have two scenarios. One is upcoming summer season, and the other is a new location opening. So here for web, we have our blog articles, and we have Yelp listings as examples. For web, you can do a variety of different things. You can do web pages and copy. You can write product descriptions. You can use it to help you plan content. And if you do have blogs on your website, you can do topics and outlines. It can help you write that copy. If you have a business that you want to have an online listing, it can help write that. Of course, if you have a chat bot, that's there, and it can even help with web design. So in this example here, we have, like I said, the blog article and a Yelp listing that I put into an AI tool. So a couple of things to notice. At the top here, that is your prompt. That's the prompt that I entered. So I entered into the tool, and the tools, I noted here at the bottom, OpenAI Playground, that's where I used it. 250-word blog post on dog grooming for summer and beach towns. And so it went on to write a blog post for me here. I'll leave it up for a little while for people to be able to read it, but it gave me a summary, then it goes into brushing and combing. It talks about a healthy coat, goes into nails, etc. So it gives me this content. If this is what it was really doing, what I would probably do is I would take a look at it and I would probably start editing it immediately. And then this is the GPT output. So this is what GPT put out for me. Then I went in and I asked it to do a Yelp listing. I said 100-word description for a dog grooming business to use on Yelp. Oh, one thing, it cut off here because I asked it for only 250 words. So here it wrote the Yelp listing for my business. It described my business. One thing to notice here is that it gave the business a name. So this, I wouldn't technically call this a hallucination, but it did make it up. But I didn't give it a business name, so it added that piece into this little written piece here. But clearly you can come in, you can edit it, but it gives you a good foundation to start from. And then also there's images. So these images here were created from DALL-E. The prompt I used was just simply dog grooming. So I could take these images, I could use them on my website, I can use them in email, I can use them in a multitude of places. Okay, the next category is email. So for email, lots of different applications. Here are just a few. You can use it to help with email topics. You can use it to help with content or subject lines. I actually use AI very frequently to help with subject lines, just to give me a couple of options to go off of, and body copy, etc. So in this example here, I asked for it to provide 5 subject lines for an email about summertime dog grooming. And these are the different options it provided. What I like to do, I'll look at them. Sometimes I'll take them verbatim. Sometimes I'll do a little Frankensteining, but it gives me some ideas and I don't have to just sit and come up with them on my own. I then went on to say what content should go in the email. And it goes to outline what I should put in there. I should talk about how dog grooming can help your dog stay cool, or reduce the risk of skin irritation. It goes into products, etc. It should include a call to action. And then I asked it, well, what should the call to action be? Give me 3 options. And it gave me these 3 options here. So now I have a foundation to help me build this tool. I can even ask it to write some of this content, and then I would go in and edit it. So that is the level of helpfulness it can provide. And for this, we also have the images as well. So in this prompt, also I use DALL-E. And here I've made the prompt a little bit different. I provide a little bit more context. A golden doodle, so not just a dog, being dog groomed. The reason why I put dog groomed in here is because when it was having an issue with just being groomed, I think it was flagging it, in a pink groomer's room. But as you can see, it got a little confused here because it got pink, but not a pink room. So you'll find that happens, and you'll have to play around with your prompts to get exactly what you want. The next one is social media. So we can use AI to help us with different topics. We can use it to help with posts, responses, hashtags to write our bio. Here, I specifically asked for 2 Instagram posts on the grand opening of the new location, add emojis and hashtags to it. If you ask just for social media posts, it'll be a little bit different. So it tries to get it specific to what that platform is. So wrote a really fun post here, gave me some hashtags. Then I asked it for 10 social media hashtags for dog grooming services, so I can use them for any other work that I do. And it really quickly spit out these hashtags here. Now I've moved over to another tool for images here, which is called Stable Diffusion. And the prompt I gave, very similar to the other one, I added on a teal apron with hearts. So it's got the pink room, it's got the golden doodle. This one has a teal apron, it has hearts, but the hearts aren't on the apron. So if I really wanted to do that, I would probably just continue to play with it and how I put it together to get exactly what I want. But it gives you an understanding of how this works. Then there's SMS messages. So it can help us with SMS text. And I actually just used the OpenAI GPT to do this just the other week. Very specific, a 160-word SMS message on the grand opening of the new location, include a bit.ly link, because I know I would have a link for people to click in for an offer, et cetera. And it popped those right out. So again, if you are having these type of, assets, it can be very helpful in helping you to generate the content for them. And then there's advertising. And this one, take it with a grain, but it can help you with some actions. It can help you with copy, scripts, themes, et cetera. Here, I tried it out and asked for a 30-second script about the summer dog grooming services. And I asked it to mention the super summer special. So if there's anything specific, you put it in there. They did a 2-person VO here for this radio script, which I thought was really cute. And I thought it did a really good job. And then there's public relations. And this is I don't think, in my experience, a lot of small businesses do not do a lot of public relations. But there's an opportunity to use AI to move in this area a little bit more. It can help with press releases, it can help with quotes, and I actually have a tool I'm going to talk about a little bit later, specifically about press releases. And here I asked for some quotes, asking it to write 2 quotes on the grand opening of the Fido's first salon and mention the commitment to the community. So now I have 2 options that I can tweak, edit, and put into my press release instead of trying to write it just on my own. So as you can see, and I talked about in these pieces here, having the correct prompt is really important. It's so critical to the output you get. So prompts guide the AI to generate output, and you have to be able to effectively communicate your input in order to get what you want on the output. But one reality is that again, ChatGPT came into our lives 5 months ago. So most of us don't have the skill of writing good prompts. So my advice is just to research, trial, experiment, see what works, see what's gonna happen when you put that in, and then also look at other people's prompts. And this particularly when it comes to anything that is visual. You may see an image and you may ask, how in the world did they get that image out of that platform? But a lot of people will share the prompt so you can understand what that input was. And here are 2 resources, some fun resources that could potentially help you in this area. The first one is a ChatGPT cheat sheet here, and the other one is a Stable Diffusion prompt book. And this prompt book is good for visual prompts. So if you're using it to create an image, it gives you some ideas on what you can put in and some areas you can think about. You can think about what type of camera, if it's a photography, what the camera settings may be, et cetera. All of these pieces that are going to be able to get you a very specific look and feel for your piece of work. And prompts are so critical that some people are even making a business out of it. So this website, Prompt Base, it's a marketplace. People can buy and people can sell prompts. So I felt like that was pretty interesting that it's evolved here. And I feel like this is just the beginning. It's going to evolve even further. All right. So in terms of output, as you saw, even from my images that I generated or some of the prompts I generated in those examples, AI is not automatic and a guaranteed success. So you really have to make sure that you have those elements in the right combination to get what you want out of it. And it does take a lot of trial. So you have the right model. Do you need ChatGPT? Do you need GPT 3.5? Do you have the right tool? Do you have the right prompt? But if you have them all together, you will get a really great output. So if you don't have great stuff going in, you're not going to have great stuff coming out. But if you do focus on it, you can fine tune it to get exactly what you want or very, very close. So now we're going to go through some text generation tools. So this first one I'm starting with is OpenAI Playground. This is a web-based tool that allows you to very easily access GPT. You do need an account. For any of these resources, you're going to need to set up an account. The way that it works is that a lot of these, and I'm trying to share here, more foundational platforms. There are lots and lots of tools out there, but the ones that are pretty general. But the way it works is typically they give you a limit for that month, or they'll start you with a limit of credits for a period of time. So you want to, so you need an account so they are able to track that. So here, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on OpenAI's Playground. This is where I will do most of my prompts here. You have a couple of different things going on here. Number one, you can change the mode here. It can be complete or edit or insert, and then you have the model. So here's the text DaVinci 003. And if you were able to open it, you'll be able to see it says this is ChatGPT, I think 3.5. Temperature here is another piece that you can adjust. And the closer it is to 0, that means that it's going to be very repetitive. And if it's up to 1, it'll have a little bit more randomness to it. So I typically don't touch these. I typically just put my prompt in here. There. You also can access ChatGPT directly from OpenAI Playground. So I have it bookmarked, and I'll go in here, open up my account, and put in my text prompt. So here is a little bit of a demo of how it works. So here I'm asking for 5 names for my pet grooming business. And you see very quickly it pumped these out. Positive Touch, Barking Lot, very cute names, very creative names. So definitely, like I said, an opportunity to use the tool to be able to help suggest different things, to give you some ideas. And again, sometimes I'll Frankenstein them, but I'm using it to really help with that creative process here. And then there's ChatGPT, what everybody is familiar with. So ChatGPT, again, it's the chat bot. You can access it online through this link here, and this is what you will get. It does have here those limitations and those kind of risks and that information, so you're very grounded in what you will get here. All you do is you input a prompt or a question, and it will respond. So I have another example here. Now, a lot of people like to ask about poetry. So I decided, well, let's write a poem about our dog grooming business. I actually wrote a pretty long poem, but this could be something you use on your website, you use in the script, or you just have on the wall, or just have for fun. You can have a myriad of uses, but it's definitely very fun to do. Yeah, like I said, it was a long poem. And you can ask for a length too. You can say, okay, I only wanted 4 stanzas or 5 stanzas, et cetera. You can ask for a poem in a specific format. I've asked for poems in iambic pentameter. So you can really play with the format and see how creative and how effective it can be in putting out what you ask for. Okay, then there is Bing. So if you're not aware, Bing launched a new Bing, which uses AI. And as I noted earlier, Microsoft is a very big investor in OpenAI. So this version of Bing actually uses some of the testing version of GPT-4. If you have a Microsoft account, you will need a Microsoft account to get access to it, but those are free. You can sign up. It may tell you need to be on a waiting list. I know it said that to me, but then I got in 3 minutes. But here's a bit of a piece, is that you can only access it via Microsoft Edge. So you'll have to have Microsoft Edge downloaded on whatever device or your laptop or computer to be able to access it. But I do use it a lot. I'll go in there and ask different questions, and I like it, and it's very convenient. And it does have what I think is pretty cool, this conversational style. I typically keep it in balance, but you can have something that's more precise, as it noted, or if you wanted to get really, really creative. But typically, I'm just keeping it in the middle there. The next one is Google. So Google has launched its chatbot, which is Bard. So Bard is not based off of OpenAI's technology at all. It's not based off of GPT. It's based off its own language model, which is a Lambda, I believe is how it's pronounced. Now, this one is interesting because it doesn't have a knowledge cutoff because it's directly connected to Google. So while the other models had that 2021 cutoff, this one does not. So I imagine it will work very similar to how Bing was in terms of just putting that information in. When you ask to sign up, you probably will be put on a wait list. I think I was on the wait list for about a week, and then I was given access to the platform. Then there's Canva. I love Canva. I use Canva a lot. It's such a great tool. And last month, I believe it was last month, they introduced about 10 new features and functionalities. And this was one of them that they shared. And here the tool is called, or the functionality is called Magic Write. And it's a copywriting assistant. And you can access it in any Canva document that you have, whether it's an ad or an actual document, anything you have, you will get Magic Write. So once you click on a text box, then you'll have the opportunity. It's a little item. It looks like this, but it shows up in the right corner. You click on it, and then a box will pop up. So you have the option here to just put in what you want to write. I want to, write a poem, or I want an essay, etc. But what I use it for more frequently than that is I will copy some text, put it in Canva, and then I will use some of these tools. A lot of times I do a rewrite. Like, I've written something, but I don't really like it, so I want to rewrite it. And I'll put it in there, and I'll just click the rewrite and see if it rewrites it to something different. If it says the words a little bit differently, I use that all the time. But it can also summarize text. So if you have very, very long text it can truncate it. And if you have short text you want to expand, then it can expand that text. This functionality is also available in Playground. So if you just went up to that mod, I think it's mod or mode, you can just change the mode and it can do the same thing. But I like to do it right here in Canva because you just click the buttons and it's very convenient. And I mean, these are just a few. And again, I feel like these are very good introductory platforms for anyone to start with. It's a lot of tools that we're already familiar with, but there are many, many more marketing tools that are available. Some of the most popular ones include Jasper and Copy AI. So if you do any searches, those come up pretty high on the list. They're very high performing, but a lot of these are paid. So Jasper and Copy AI are paid. You can probably get a very temporary access, but then to be able to continuously use it, you would need to pay for it. And then there's one called NewsWriter AI. I'm going to share a little bit about that. I really love it. But lots of different tools that you can leverage to help you with some text writing. So NewsWriter AI, and I wanted to share this because, like my point earlier, I feel like public relations is something that a lot of small businesses just do not have the luxury of doing because it requires a professional to write the press release. They have to be, they're very standardized, all of these pieces. However, you have a tool here that, as you can see, free account that will write a press release for you. And it does use OpenAI to generate the press release, but you'll get a press release in just a few minutes. They do recommend editing, like they'll spit it out, but again, edit it, make sure it's correct. If you want to put your quotes in, etc. But the fact that this tool exists and we have the ability to create press releases, and you don't have to distribute them on the wire or anything like that, which is what they usually do with press releases. You can just start putting press releases on your website that can help with the content, that can help with your SEO, etc. So I really, really love this, and I'm really excited about that one. So now we're going to go into image generation tools. These are so much fun. So we'll start with DALL-E. So DALL-E can be accessed easily on the website. So you can go to the labs.openai.com. Again, you log in with the same credentials you log in with for GPT or ChatGPT, and then you'll be able to utilize the platform. As you can see here, it tells me I only have 4 credits left, but my credits will refill on April 26th. So I will have the opportunity, I'll get more credits. So they kind of up your credits every month. But you do have a certain amount of credits you can use. And then it, of course, offers me the opportunity to buy some credits here. So here we'll go through an example of how to use, using DALL-E. So now I've gone to asking about my poodle now in a blue room to see what we get. And here, if you've done any searches before, they'll show up on this side. You can see here that young lady that I had earlier in the presentation. And here are some great images of a poodle being dog groomed in a blue room. So they got it all right. So that's amazing. Let's go to the next. All right. Then here is Bing Create. So this is also powered by DALL-E, but Bing has worked to create their own tool here. So you can go bing.com images create, you can put in your prompt and it will bring forth different types of images. Here, if you mouse over, you'll see what that prompt is, which again, like I said, for a lot of images, you see this a lot where there will be a prompt and you can look at that and say, hey, you can even try it out on different tools. I love to do that too. I'll have different image tools, put the same prompt in and see how different things can come out from those different tools there as well. And all of these tools have a limit to how much you can generate in any one given time frame. So Bing Create is one of those as well, the image creator. Then there's Canva. Again, like I said, Canva rolled out a lot of amazing tools. So in addition to Magic Write, Canva also provides this AI image generator. And this can be used just like the writer in any document that you have in Canva. So it's accessible right here in the file. So when you're looking for an image, you have the option to then select this text to image piece here. And if you can't find these while you're in your document, you can always go to your Canva homepage and there should be a bar of all of these new features that are kind of in the middle of the page. And you can just scroll and find either Magic Write or find this text to image piece. And the way that it works is this area here, you put in your description. They give you a couple of different styles that you can choose from. And there are even more. And then you can also choose the shape of the image, which I like a lot. So this one is one that I really do like. It's not powered by OpenAI or GPT at all. It's actually powered by another platform and technology called Stable Diffusion. And then there's Shutterstock. So Shutterstock has their AI image generator, pretty easy to access. Just go right here. They worked with OpenAI, but also worked with Meta and LG to put their tool together. You do have a limit per day on the images that you can generate. And in order to actually download it, you have to have a plan, and they have you to select a type of license for usage. So they're very different in their approach to what they're doing with the images. And they also are selling AI generated images, and they have this whole system of compensation for artists, et cetera. So they have a whole different approach there. But it is a great way to go and play around. What I do like is they will give you different styles. So if you, especially in the beginning, you're not quite knowing what you want to do or how to do it, it's very easy to just go in and click one of these buttons and put your prompt in. A fun thing to do is have the same prompt and just click different styles and see how it renders them very differently. It can be a lot of fun there. And then there is a Microsoft Designer. So this is more than just images. It's actually a graphic tool that's powered by Microsoft. It allows you to design layouts, and you can use it for different assets, for ads, for social media, for flyers, et cetera. They currently do have a wait list. I've joined the wait list and I haven't heard back from them. But what we do know is that it will be free for Office 365 subscribers eventually. It may be a version that's free for everybody, and maybe Office 365 gets enhanced versions and enhanced functionality, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But it's out there. I would suggest you just put your email in there and join the wait list. Now, there are, just like the text tools, so many different tools that you can use for text to image. So some ones that are really popular are Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. Those two come up a lot. They put forth very incredible images. Now, Midjourney, unfortunately, but it's hosted on Discord. So if you're not familiar with Discord, then it may be a little bit confusing and difficult to access. I just decided I was not even going to try it, but I do really love Stable Diffusion quite a bit. And then there's some other ones here that you can research and figure out. I like Crane. I think Wombo is free, but you only get one image versus multiple ones. So it's a lot to go in and to try out and to see what quality of image comes out of those different tools. And here, like I said, I really, really do like Stable Diffusion, and I am going to just kind of show an example here. Same prompt that we put into, that was DALL-E early on, with the poodle in a blue room. And just remember what those images look like. And now you're going to have another set of images to compare it to. So, very different images here, more detail. You got a lot more going on, a little bit more crisp. So the different tools, they're different. So I would say kind of try them all. You may run out of credits on one site and you may have to go to another site, or you may just purchase a subscription. It depends on how you feel. I would not recommend you purchase anything until you've kind of tried everything out and you really know what you like and what you need for your business. So we have all of this information that was provided. So there's a question maybe on where to start. So I'm going to wrap it up with some thoughts on how to start and what you should do with all of this information that was provided here. So a few things that you should consider. The first is that continue to be educate yourself on this. This technology is changing so fast that it's so important for you to just kind of keep your pulse on that. So Make sure you understand the capabilities and benefits. How is it going to benefit your business, as well as the risks? Is there a risk? Is there a potential risk? Is there something that you should be aware of? Should you be aware of copyright? Just really make sure you understand it and how it relates to your business and your industry. The second thing is explore. There's so many tools, and maybe there's not just one that does it 100% for you. So explore all the platforms that are out there. Sign up for some accounts and just start trying some things. When you start, my recommendation is start with something easy and familiar. Maybe it's the Google Bard, maybe it's Bing, maybe it's Canva, or maybe you want to go right into Playground. But make it easy for you to just start to test the waters on understanding how this whole prompt to output piece works for text and for images, and being able to put in your specific business and see what comes out. So just play around with it. And that leads right into the next piece, which is experiment, test, learn, explore, even with the prompt. So if I were really working on that prompt and I wanted to get that pink room and that teal apron with pink hearts, I would keep trying it. I may put it in different sentences. I'll start to really play around with how I want the information to be presented so that I can get the output that I want there. So I will continue to do that. And then stay abreast, so stay abreast of the news and updates, et cetera. For instance, I follow OpenAI and DALL-E on Instagram. So I get so inspired by all of the beautiful artwork that's out there. I follow them on LinkedIn to try to get updates. I follow other sites that have lots of updates about AI, and we'll be able to put information out about all the tools available. So I do try to make sure that I'm staying abreast. So just do that, because it's changing so rapidly. And when you are trying to do something where you may have something like a copyright concern, staying abreast on the copyright issues is probably something that you should do. And then last, I want to share this website, which if you don't take any website from this presentation at all, or any tools, I would recommend you do this one. And it's futuretools.io. And what this is, it is a searchable database of AI tools available. So you can go in and you can search for something just general. You can pick a category. You can say, I just want stuff that's free, etc. You can go in. There are tools that are coming out on a weekly basis, probably hourly at this point now. So hopefully, they're in this database and it will allow you to be able to access it pretty quickly. And you're not just doing internet searches and kind of trying to pull through all of that. And if you find a tool that you have found somewhere else and you want to look it up, put it into this website here and be able to get some information about it. So like I said, I do think this is, if you take nothing from it, take this and be able to use it to explore what's out there and what that landscape actually does look like. And that is it for my actual presentation. I do see some questions here. See if I can pull them up. At this point, any content that we create, books, we cannot copyright it. So yes, so Lana, so if you create it specific right from AI and you do nothing to that, you can't copyright it. But if you create it and from AI starts it and then you edit it and you add to it, et cetera, then that potentially can be copyrighted. Now, one thing to know is there are tools out there, and I didn't mention this, but OpenAI creates one where they're able to detect if something is written by AI. So they will try to find out. So that's my suggestion. If you want to create something like a book, and actually I'm challenging myself to write a book using AI, but as I've started with the basics, like, okay, this is kind of the plot, the characters, et cetera. So give me an outline of 5 chapters, 6 chapters. Okay, how would this first chapter begin? And then I'm going in and I'm doing very heavy editing, because I did find that identifying that writing to be like amazing writing. It was okay, but it wasn't like the type of writing I liked. So yes. Can I describe something visual like an image or a person only generate or only, yes. So for the image generators that I shared on the back half, you can go in and describe something like I did there. A poodle, dog groomed in a blue room with the woman with the apron with the heart on it. Will we get these slides? So I don't know if they share the slides, but there's going to be a recording here. If you provide an identical prompt 2 different times, will you get the same response? Probably not, because every time what's happening is that system is going and they're just pulling information. So I would say, go ahead and experiment it, but I've put it in twice and got every time very different results. Do you suggest it for creating a logo? So there are some sites that create logos, AI logos. I haven't used them. So I don't know. I'm a little bit particular when it comes to logo design. So my initial part, but that to say, try it, see if it gets you where you want. There are some tools out there that already do that here. Let's see, if 2 dog grooming businesses start up at the same time and both these have to do the same thing. Okay, this is interesting. Thank you for that fun questions, L.O. Can the AI describe the image? For example, can it create alt text for an image? So GPT-4 can do that. You can upload an image and then it'll be able to have a description for you there. However, it's not, like I said, it's available in the pro version. I don't have the pro version. I actually am paying for no AI tools right now. I'm just using what's out readily available. But I think I did read that they said that they just don't have that up yet, but it can upload an image and then provide that text there. DALL-E is free. So you can go in, like I said, I had, my 4 credits I have for the next week. So you'll get credits every month that you can use to do DALL-E. But then again, you can also do that generation on different websites. So there are other websites that are powered by DALL-E, or again, Stable Diffusion is amazing. I would totally recommend it there. Okay. Am I more amazed or scared by the future of AI? For me, I think it's a little bit of both, right? Because I'm amazed at how much we can do, but when I read the news on how there was an open letter to stop development after this latest version of GPT-4, that kind of scares you, because if that is happening, that means that technology is evolving so rapidly that the people who are developing it, like they kind of don't really know where it's going and they want to stop it before it goes into other areas. So one problem that had happened with some versions of GPT and ChatGPT particularly, were people going in and asking it to do very dark things and it giving it, so the tool is not supposed to do that. That's why when I put in grooming or groomed, it like immediately shut it down because it thought I was doing something nefarious. But people have learned to kind of get around them and they'll, tweet about it, et cetera. And it's getting smarter on that. So there are the capacity for those pieces. And then just like, where is it going to go and how much is it going to overtake and where's the human in everything? We'll always need to be there. So I think some of those things become scary when a tool is advancing so quickly that some people who are developing don't know where it's going, or they want to stop to figure it out, et cetera. But it's exciting. It's exciting to have anything that's advancing and that's going to be able to help us do things smarter and better there. What URL do you suggest just to get AI? You gave us many. So here's my suggestion. I would do Bing. I really like the new Bing. I think it's Bing /new. I like that. That's like a basic chat. And I would suggest you try to play around with a generator like the GPT and get Playground. You don't have to change any settings. Just go into Playground and just put that piece of text in there and go from there. Don't try to change the mode. Don't try to change the temperature. Don't try to do any of those pieces. And that's a really good place to continue. And what I do like about that, sometimes it's really fun. So you can put a prompt in, it can respond. You can ask it another question about it and it'll keep building on it. So that's what I did with the email. Hey, what are some topics? What's the content? What are some call to actions? It can build upon that knowledge that remains in that piece. And you can find that that can be a good experience. And then after you get comfortable with that, then you can start changing. Okay, it's a complete. Now I want to do another mode, or maybe I want to change things around, or maybe I want to try something different. So just kind of doing those little things. And then, like I said, the Bing I like a lot. And it's fun because you'll ask it something, it'll come back very friendly. Another thing that it's always interesting is when I see that they're learning. So for instance, I forget what I asked it. I asked it to do something and I said, well, can you make it a little bit more friendly? And they're like, well, I'm sorry, you didn't like that. So it's learning at that point that I asked for something and it didn't feel, it felt like it was too negative, or it was too, going this direction. Or it'll ask you like, well, how would you like me to do that? So those are always real fun things there. Okay, and now there's some stuff in the chat here. I don't know if there are any questions, but if there's a question, if you can put it in the Q&A, that allows me to get to it a lot faster than if you put it in the chat, because there's a lot of messages in the chat. We'll receive a demo on how to use it. For example, we have this, will we receive a demo on how to use for small businesses? For example, how to access this on the web, how to frame or ask questions, and how to reference this if we are using for specific academic purposes. So for that, maybe there's a webinar that can come out in the future. We can do a workshop. I think that this is a topic to me where a workshop is amazing, right? We can go in, we can try out a couple of different tools, and then everybody can work on their specific business and, in the company of other people who are trying. And I do think that's something we should explore. But otherwise, you are, you're on your own to kind of go out there and research some of these pieces and to try to learn about some of it. But there's a lot of research, a lot of videos out there to try to aid in providing some information on AI. How can we get a GPT-4? You just go to GPT-4, you can go to the OpenAI website, set up an account, and then sign up for the Pro. And I can't remember how much it was, but it's not super expensive. And that will give you access to GPT-4. But if you go and you get the new Bing, there are versions of or pieces of a GPT-4 that are built into Bing. So you'll see a little bit of it there as well. Haven't they frozen? Yeah, so we talked about that, Jay Michelle, that after that, there was that open letter a couple of weeks ago after GPT-4 was launched to say, let's stop development until we kind of figure these things out, et cetera, there. We talked about DALL-E. DALL-E 2 is free, yes. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody asked for a slide and that was a long time ago. Is the 100-word description something plagiarized from another business by Pat? No, the copy that ChatGPT creates is unique. So this is not something that they've pulled. The way that the tool works is it was trained on all of this information that's been put into it. And then there are humans who go in and they kind of help it to learn and adjust different things by telling it, hey, if this is input, this is the right response, et cetera. So they do little things, not little things like that, but they do those type of actions. So when a prompt comes in, it's pulling from all of those different pieces, and each time it's unique. So they're not plagiarizing, they're pulling different pieces from different inputs that's in their system. And that's not to say that one day somebody won't find anything that's 100% plagiarized, but it just appears that from what I've read, the way the tool is built, that it's not, it should avoid that. So if you sign up for the DALL-E account, even if you don't have to buy, I've never bought credits and I'm on that website all the time for that account. So you should, I'm not exactly sure, Jasmine, what you're looking at to say that it's not a free DALL-E version, but you should be able to get it for free. Says you mentioned copyright issues, but can you assume that it gives you images to use, that those are open source with no issues? Yeah, those images should be fine. Here's the caveat and problem issue potentially. Let's say, like for instance, one of the images I said, I want a Kadir Nelson image of a girl with a golden doodle. So Kadir Nelson is an artist and he's got copyrighted works. And I've asked for something in the style of a artist. Now, this is not his art, but he has a copyrighted style. And that is where I think there's some additional conversations happening. But if you just create something, if you're not trying to get it to look like that, I think you're fine. If you do that, if you do try to ask for it in someone else's style, I don't think it's clear, but I think it's risky. I wouldn't do it there. Let me see. Let's see. Behind the text chat, GPT. Okay. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions here. And then I think there was information early on about where the link to this recording will be. And that will be on the YouTube channel for the Chicago Department of Business Affairs Consumer Protection. So the credit system, Jasmine asked about the credit system. So every website is different. So whatever website that you want to use, you should, go in and look at how that pricing works. That's almost one of the first things I do whenever I hit a resource is what are they going to charge me to do this? So that the way that the credit system works is that at least for some of the OpenAI products, is that it resets at every month. So like you saw on my account, it said I had 4 credits left and it's going to reset on the 26th and I will get an additional 15 credits, et cetera, something like that. So they'll reset. And I've never run into any issues honestly, with GPT and with what now, maybe I'm just not generating enough text there to run into anything. I've used like so little of everything that I've gotten there. So I'm actually not even sure when it resets because I've not gotten to the end of that. The press release website was Newswriter. I think it was Newswriter.io. Let's see. Did I create the slides with the use of GPT? I did not create the slides with the use of GPT. I did create the image with, all of the images that were in the slide in the presentation with GPT. And someone noted here, Notion has a good AI tool as well. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. I don't know if I see any other questions.
Yeah, Deanna, the other. Sorry, there are a number of them in the Q&A, and if you want, I can just.
Oh, it's some more there. Oh, I saw. Okay, I was looking at the let me go. Let me see. Where's the last one?
Yeah, there's no more questions in the chat. It's just a lot of comments.
Okay. Do you think there are other use cases besides digital marketing, sir? Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are so many different cases that you can use AI. There are so many tools for productivity that are out there. All of the other pieces of our lives. So much out there. This is just kind of the focus here. But if you even go to that last website that was up there, all different types of categories for different AI tools. Because what happened is once that ChatGPT was launched and OpenAI put those APIs out, then other people started programming around those and integrating them into their products. And so that's just every day. It's just evolving to things that they can create to help us with our lives, or at least that's what they're hoping. AI certifications available. That's a great question. I do not have the answer to that one. There. Can GPT create a website or website copy if you provide business description and navigation? It probably can. Now, I was just reading about an example before. I can't remember what the input was, but the platform just spit out like coding for the page. So you can absolutely go in, and it just is about how are you phrasing it to say, and what you want to come out of it. Do you want the copy? Do you want it to be like architecture of your website? It's really about what you want. You can say, this is my business and this is my navigation, where we know content, or this is my business, what should my content buckets look like? So it's not going to just like create a website. Now, there is a platform that you can put in your business idea and it'll spit out some things, but it's not a very good website. It doesn't have a lot of pages. It's not really robust enough in my view there, but there are probably more and more tools that are coming out every day. So there's a question here from Inez, where can we find the different platforms with the different AI? So that last, it's escaping my mind right now, but that last tool that I put up there, that is a place where you can go and search. And there are other databases out there as well. This is just the one that I found and I liked. And you can just search for different types of tools and you can go in and kind of experiment. But one thing to know is there are a lot of like small experimental companies out there. That's why my suggestion is start with the bigger ones, the big boys, to get familiar. And then once you really know it, then you can know when you go to a smaller tool if it's working the way you want it to work. But if you first go there, then you kind of don't have that perspective. But if you go with the larger ones, you know that that's going to be a best-in-class experience there. Can I upload a logo and ask for revisions and updates? So I do believe that I think you can do that in in Midjourney. I think Midjourney allows for editing like that. Again, I haven't accessed Midjourney because I didn't want to go through that whole Discord piece, but not from these tools here. Now, that doesn't mean that one doesn't exist. It just is not one that I've come in contact with. Would love to know if you've noticed any areas that as a marketer, it's really made an impact. No, and I think it's all, and I'm saying no from just like a broad stroke, that no one, and nothing has been said to say, hey, AI has done this big thing in this specific area. I do feel like the image generation piece is having a large impact. As I've spoken to some people at agencies, not to say that they've used them, but it helps with brainstorming, it helps with ideas, it helps with pieces like that. So I think that it's kind of unleashed something there, and I think we're still figuring that piece out. One thing for sure that it has done is it's given us all the ability to have work that is well written, being an adjunct, I've sat in on some webinars and talks from an educational perspective, and there was one comment that, well, now, nothing should be poorly written anymore because you have AI. AI can write it up perfect, and now we can focus on content, et cetera, things like that. But I think for marketing, it's, all of it is still kind of coming, it's still kind of rolling out, like, what is it going to be? But clearly it allows us a lot more tools to be able to produce things a lot faster than we were before. So more to come. 2 people enter the exact same detailed prompt. What are the chances of getting the same output? Probably not at all. Like I said, I've put in the same prompt into the tool and both times myself and gotten different responses. So absolutely a person, 2 different people will get different prompts. So you go to different tools, you get different prompts. And that's part of what I would suggest you do in terms of exploration. Kind of just try different things out, see what's going to happen. Sometimes, even if you're trying with the image piece, it's fun but it can be tedious. If you put a comma versus a period, it may change it. Where you put the words, all of that, it's such a fine art, and it's kind of fun to kind of figure it out. But it can be frustrating if you want to get something very specific. But the ones who have really mastered it, their work is, it can produce very, very beautiful things. So someone's saying here that it looks like DALL-E is not free anymore, only to those who signed up before April 6th to get free credits. So it sounds like that's not a free version, but there are other platforms out there. Go to Stable Diffusion. The work, I don't know what you thought, but I thought that what they gave out was, and produced was very, very good. I love it. So that's another great one. And some of those other options have the free versions as well. You can use it for child songs, spokesperson, or video editing. For songs, I would say you can use it to help with some lyrics. For a spokesperson, you can use it to help write scripts. There are some interesting things out there I didn't share here, but there's one site I really like where it is a music site, and you're able to go in and you don't put in a prompt. You're actually just getting music, but you're able to kind of adjust it to what you need based on like tempo and speed, and you really make it customized from what's already there. But there's another one where where it's able to mimic voices. Now, I do think this one's probably going to get shut down eventually, but it's really cool for now, where it can take a voice. It can take a celebrity's voice. It can take your voice. You input that voice, and then it can duplicate that voice, and you can use it for different uses, et cetera. It's really cool. So like I said, a lot of people are doing a lot of very interesting things. Some of these things may not last, but it's definitely something to explore. And I think that it clearly is a lot more complicated. And I think we're going to see more from that in the future in terms of those pieces. I have seen a couple of tools where it allows you to do small editing to pieces. One of them was super interesting, where if you're have a video and your eyes are off to the side, or push your eyes back to make it seem like you're looking on the camera. So there are little things, there are different tools like that are out there. Is there a way to use AI for advertising conversion from Meta or social media platforms? I'm assuming here that this is about some paid advertising, and I don't know if it's about optimization those pieces. And so there's kind of already that kind of optimization and the tools that exist in those platforms to optimize those pieces. So I'm not sure exactly what this question is, but there probably is something out there, but I think a lot of it's already built into these platforms and how they work with any type of automated buying or programmatic buying or anything that you're using on these platforms. Can AI build? We kind of talked about that. There are some ones that will build a website for you. Like I said, the examples I saw, it was really kind of basic, but it did it pretty quickly. So can it generate code? Yes, it can. So that's not an area that I am very savvy in. So I'm not going to speak a lot on it, but it absolutely can generate code. It can generate clean code. And there are a lot of articles out there about that piece of it. So I think that's an exciting place for people who actually do write code to be able to have a tool that can help do that. So yes. Will AI tell you proprietary information like the Coke formula or Google algorithm? No, I do not. I've not asked, but I do not believe they will do that. And I think we just talked about the different URLs that are out there. And I said the most. I think the one is that search. The search engine is one of the ones that will just kind of point you in the direction and get you a lot of different things there. So I think I answered all the questions here. So I think we might be done with those.
I don't see
Yeah,
them.
it looks like it. Thank you for this presentation. We had great attendance numbers today.
Oh, perfect. It was so much fun. I mean, it's a really fun topic, and I hope that everybody just experiments with it and learns how to use it. I do think that it can be such a game changer for small businesses that don't have resources to be able to have tools like this that are easy to generate. And some of them are, very low cost or free. You can really get a lot done. So I'm excited about what this potential it holds.
Thank you again to SCORE as well, SCORE Chicago, for providing us with today's presentation. To learn more about our upcoming webinars, please go to chicago.gov/business education. This webinar was recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Chicago BACP. Again, that's youtube.com/Chicago BACP. Our next webinar is scheduled for this Friday at 9:30. So please, again, visit our website at chicago.gov/business education to sign up and learn more about our upcoming webinars. And thank you again to Ms. Danielle and SCORE Chicago for today's presentation.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Tiani.
Thank you.